Hello, lovely people. Hi. Hi. Thanks for being here. Hello from Illinois. Hi. How are you doing in Illinois? How's it going, you guys? Happy day. So, we're doing this on September 12th. And I have a question for you, super random. Have you ever experienced a sonic boom? A sonic boom? It's what woke me up this morning. Oh my goodness, a little after 5 a.m. So where I live, they're always launching rockets. There have been 2 rocket launches this week alone. There was the Polaris Dawn launch, which has the 4 astronauts doing a private spacewalk. That one was loud. But the one that happened early this morning was the one that was a Falcon 9 launch. And they sometimes, or maybe they always do, have a sonic boom. But I don't always know when the launches are going to happen because they're happening all the time. So they launched the rocket, and this sonic boom is insane. And it's so jarring, right? Like I shoot up out of bed like that. It's so primal. And what happens is that the rocket launches and then the booster returns back down to Earth. And the booster is the one that like boosts it off the planet. And so the booster, it's called first stage reentry. The booster comes back down, and when it hits the sound barrier, it's really loud, but you don't know how fast the sound is going to travel. It can take 2 seconds to 60 seconds. And sometimes there's things in the way, so it's not as loud. But oh my gosh. So I woke up this morning to a sonic boom, which honestly, it's really cool because it clears the air, right? It clears the energies. It's the ultimate sound bath healing. Sometimes there's 2 of them, okay? But this time there's only 1. And even though it was so like jolting and jarring, it was, I don't know, I just love the energetic clearing that happens with these sonic booms. So I was thinking like that'd be cool if I could time one of these YouTube lives to coincide with the sonic boom, because maybe you'd hear it. I don't know if you'd hear it, but you'd see me jump, like see me jump. So yeah, that's how I started my day. Sonic boom. Get the day going. It was so funny. So thank you all for joining me. Hello. Hi, welcome. I'm so happy to interact with you guys and to say hello. And I appreciate you making time in your busy day and in your life and wherever you're at in the world and just showing up. So hi, good morning. Hi, Christian. Hi, Minky. Starseed Kitty. So that's the intention too of these, is to interact with you, because some people don't like that. So if you don't like that, I would say adjust your expectations, because these are about interactions and saying hello. That's the point of a YouTube live. And I did not do one last week. I know some of you asked. I was in Los Angeles last week. I had a fantastic time. And the crazy heat wave, oh my goodness. Those of you on the West Coast, you know what I'm talking about. Like, those were Dubai temperatures. It was 109. What is that, 40 or 42 Celsius? Yeah, it's like you're just standing there and you're just sweating. But we had an amazing time, jumped in the pool, went down some water slides, had some fun. It was great. And one of the reasons why I travel so much is because I need to see my people and my friends. Like, relationships are really important to me. So I make time for them and I fit them into my schedule. And I try to see people that I can see, right? But that's one of the reasons why I travel so much too, is because you've got to see people in person and catch up with their world and what they're doing. So yeah, that's why there was no YouTube live last week. But today, we're going to talk about Mars in Cancer squaring the nodes of fate. And there's a few things I found here that I want to make sure we include and cover, but I would recommend looking in your chart at where you have 6 and 7 degrees of Cancer. 6 and 7 degrees of Cancer. And this is where Mars is going to have a retrograde. Mars has not had a retrograde in Cancer since 2007. So you haven't had a Mars retrograde in this area of your chart since 2007. Mars has been in this area of your chart because Mars is here every 2 years or so. So the last time the retrograde happened, again, 2007, and actually it cleared into 2008. So what you're clearing out is energy since 2008 in the Cancer areas of your chart throughout this retrograde. But with the square to the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra, this is bringing up some personal choice points for you. Personal, emotional. This is where Mars is asking you to be more courageous in claiming what you want, even if the Libra area of your chart doesn't understand, isn't in agreement. Even if the Libra area of your chart, which represents other people, right, and other relationships and connections, represents, where you're searching for an equilibrium, the giving, exchanging, all that. There's tension here. But because the North Node is in Aries, as it's been since July 2023, you're meant to go into the new parts of yourself that truly align with who you are, that are more independent, more courageous. You're feeling perhaps stronger in your individuality, knowing who you are, knowing what you're about. The North Node in Aries has been opening up new chapters and new parts of your life, new parts of yourself that have your name on it, that are meant for you. And the square from Mars, now Mars rules Aries. And typically that Aries energy is let's go for it, let's get there, we'll figure it out as we go, don't overthink it, don't worry, just take action. And here comes this Mars, which is carrying a lot of, it's like emotional imprints that are unconscious. And they can be unconscious if you haven't fully processed, felt into them, or even understood what they're about. So this Mars in Cancer is bringing up more of what you're feeling and wants to ensure that the new start, or what you're choosing, what you want, is safe, is going to provide some kind of stability, which is something that Cancer seeks. The Cancer energy likes emotional connection, can form attachments. It's connected to the parts of ourselves that aren't linear, but you have to, be really honest with yourself about how you're feeling. And so this square to the nodes of fate is bringing up, it feels brave. It feels like a brave choice point that is breaking you away from others, which we'll say as Libra, which might not make them happy because that Libra energy wants peace, wants things to be fair, wants everyone to win-win. But Mars is feeling this energy of something rising up that can't be denied. And the squares are tension, right? But the squares are growth. This is a growth opportunity. This is a growth opportunity that's showing up through tension and discomfort. And it could even feel, inconsistent, very uncertain. It's pushing you into more of your individual path. And it means there's people you're leaving behind at some level, so Libra being an air sign, you're caring less about what others think, Libra, and more about what you want, Aries. And then you're feeling maybe this emotional like churning, or it doesn't feel settled. It feels like it's stirred up, because that's what Mars does. Mars is ultimately a catalyst for forward motion. Mars is not in his retrograde territory yet. Okay, Mars doesn't get to retrograde territory until October 6th, when he gets to 17 degrees of Cancer. So this is not in retrograde territory, and that's important to note. This is Mars forcing you to trust yourself. And it feels like with that Cancer energy, it goes into, well, Cancer is about the home, family dynamics, parenting, a mother, a child, whether you are the mother or you are the child, the family dynamics, having to shift them. And these are uncomfortable choices or uncomfortable actions at first, because you're prioritizing what you need. And this Cancer energy, it absorbs, right? It absorbs. It's a sponge. It's empathetic. It's caring. It's kind. It's like it wants to take care of you. It's accommodating. It wants other people to feel good. And there's a component here of this Mars in Cancer bringing up maybe energies you've absorbed. I'm feeling like out of like whether it's responsibility or a sense of family or a sense of like you don't want other people to feel uncomfortable, so you've been doing this for them. And now there's going to be some kind of forward, it's a forward motion, but it feels like it could be an argument. You know, you could be fighting with people. There can be disagreements. There can be a sense of we're not on the same page. We're not agreeing. And it's asking you to find a way to still take care of yourself amongst discord, amongst a sense of this isn't going to make other people happy, and that's not my responsibility. So that would be a good thing to reflect upon, is how much you take on in order to make others happy, to appease them, or whatever it might be. I mean, especially if you're an empath, right? And you're aware of these dynamics and you pick up on it, and you're just, you don't want people to be mad at you. The Libra energies doesn't like that. Don't be mad at me. That's why I'll do whatever to make it better. Don't be angry. Don't confront me. That's Libra. That's also Mars in Cancer. So there's stuff happening behind the scenes, behind our own energy systems, where you could be feeling or sensing this discord and other people's unsatisfaction, other people's disagreement, their anger. But with the North Node in Aries in your chart, this is where you're learning to stand on your own, to live life on your terms, to be clearer in who you are, what you want, and to not compromise that in the name of trying to keep other people happy, because that's not going to serve you in the long term. And then there's this emotional push here from Mars in Cancer, and it can bring up your own, emotional ecosystem that has you doubting yourself, resisting a path. That Mars in Cancer can be hesitant, can be passive aggressive. You do not want the energy to turn on yourself. Cancer rules the softer parts of ourselves. Cancer rules the womb, the soft belly, the breasts, parts of the heart. That Cancer energy wants to care, but needs boundaries for health, to be aware of what you have, again, absorbed, and what you're carrying that you might have to process through and filter out. So going back to anger, which is Mars, going back to asserting yourself, going back to physical movement, all of that is Mars, and that can support the movement of emotional energies, like a healthy movement where you go to, water sources to clear your head, to clear your heart, to clear your body, to clear your emotions. An Epsom salt bath, a swim in the ocean, a swim in the pool, just a shower, a cleansing of the energies. Because this Mars is frustrated. How do you deal with frustration? How do you deal with standing on your own? And I also feel this, it's interesting, I've been feeling it as a breaking away from emotional ties, expectations, maybe family traditions, which is Cancer. Cancer is your first experience of a tribe. Now, we often talk about Aquarius as community, soul tribe, but those are the energies of people out there, out there. Cancer is the energy of people that you live with in your immediate environment who know you. And so this is going back to those first family imprints that are unconscious because, so for example, going back to childhood, how you grew up was your normal. That's what you knew. You didn't know there was anything different, perhaps. It's subjective. It's like, this was my family. This was our environment. This was our home. My dad did this. My mom did that. These are my sisters, my brothers, whomever you lived with. Of course, and then if there was a separation or if you were raised by one parent, or maybe you were raised amongst a big family, all the aunts, all the uncles, whatever, that would have been your first experience of a tribe, of a family unit, of those close to you. And it would have provided an imprint on you, an emotional imprint of where you are amongst the tribe. If you're the child, that's one role versus being a parent or being a sister. Mars is coming through and is bringing up stuff from the past that could require you to make a different choice, choose a new direction, do something outside of what the family expects or wants. This Mars in Cancer is like, it's an emotional Mars, so it's almost like it's like a faucet. It's either the hot water or the cold water. And you could be trying to figure out how to get the warm water. But Mars in Cancer can be hot or cold, often moves sideways. Cancer, the crab, right? The crab walks sideways, hesitates. This is not a strong Mars. This is a Mars in his heart. This is a Mars in his emotions. This is a Mars that is figuring out what's best for me, even if it's not what other people want or expect of me. This is where you might even be. Okay, wow. Okay, I just got two visuals, but let me finish the sentence. This is where you could be making a new choice for a family lineage or tradition and breaking out of an ancestral pattern that has persisted. And so the two visuals I just got, okay, let me explain it. I just got a visual of all these umbilical cords. All these umbilical cords. How many umbilical cords do you need? Well, you just need one. But I got the visual of umbilical cords that were established when you were younger. Now you think about the role of the umbilical cord, about how when you're in vitro, that is the source of life. That is your safety, your nutrients. That's how you survive. You're dependent upon the mother. You're dependent upon the womb. So this means that while you were in your mother's womb, yes, we're going there, you were actually absorbing all the energies that she was moving through during the full gestation period of that pregnancy. And if you call up your mom, she's not going to remember. She's not going to know everything she went through when she was pregnant with you. But that's part of the womb energy of Cancer, is that you're in this safe cocoon place, being nurtured, being taken care of. And then, the umbilical cord is what feeds you and sustains you. But you're absorbing all the energy that she's feeling and moving through. And then you come out into the world as your own person, your own individual sovereign being. You break free from her. But what I'm seeing are these umbilical cords that we still feel. And so what I'm feeling is like you could feel intuitively and energetically that you have an umbilical cord to an ancestor, to a grandparent, to a deceased relative, to someone in your family lineage that maybe you never even met. I mean, just trust it if it resonates or not. But it feels like we don't always realize how deeply imprinted we are. That's the unconsciousness of Cancer. And the primary role of Cancer is the mother. So this can bring up your soul contracts with your mother. So not only do I see all these umbilical cords to, again, not just the mother, but to other parts of your family lineage. I mean, this could go back 7 generations, right? I don't know. But that could be part of what you're wrestling or feeling. And it feels like if you have anger towards the mother, if there's a mother wound that hasn't been felt or processed, if there is anything on the maternal side of the family, that can all come up with this energy of Mars squaring the nodes of fate. Because there could be a deeper sense of what you're clearing, but it's breaking away. Like, it's not like the calm, peaceful clearing with Mars. It's more like you're pissed off and you don't want to talk about it right now. Because Mars in Cancer can have a tantrum. His pacifier falls out. Like, he gets like, it's like this emotional blah, and then don't talk to me, I'll be back later. So, I mean, I hope you don't have that experience, but that's this energy of like, what are you breaking away from that is uncomfortable, and yet it's right on time at some level in the cosmos. And then the second visual I was getting at the same time as seeing all these umbilical cords was seeing this octopus. And like, at first I thought it was the same visual as the umbilical cords, but no. It's like these octopus tentacles, but they keep going back. Like, they keep going to the past. And the tentacles represent what's unresolved. What's emotionally unresolved that is being triggered in you, or being triggered? This, by the way, this square is happening now. I mean, it's incoming. It's the middle of September, so September 14th to the 17th, when Mars moves 6-7 degrees in Cancer. Mars only makes this square once. So if none of this resonates with you, fine, but know that there's some big emotional message coming through that you could be trying to settle or figure out even amongst the tension. and it's something unresolved. Maybe it's an unconscious habit or pattern. Maybe it's something within you that you've pushed aside and you're like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. I don't know how to deal with this. It feels too emotionally big. And then Mars is a trigger that comes through and says, actually, you need to either set yourself free or find a way to move through this, move through it. So Mars enters his retrograde shadow October 6th when he gets to 17 degrees of Cancer. His retrograde begins in early December. I believe it's December 6th at 6 degrees of Leo. And then he's going to retrograde back into Cancer January 6th until I believe it's the middle of April. I don't have the dates in front of me right now, sorry. But whatever is coming up now is important for you to consciously work through and know what it is, at least emotionally, and to approach it with mature emotional wisdom. Even if it's from the past, which is Cancer. Even if it's something that you're like, oh, this is so over. Why is this coming up now? Well, because something is still unresolved. And the square to the nodes of fate means that you're being given this personal choice point to continue on your path of growth and self-knowingness, self-mastery that isn't based on other people's terms or other people's expectations or what they need from you. And I just keep feeling that there's a breaking away from some kind of family tradition or family program or family expectation, because Mars wants to be independent. That's the archetypal expression. And Mars wants to be able to move ahead. Now, when Mars moves into Leo, late November and December, it strengthens. It strengthens. And then the retrograde begins. So keep in mind that part of what you're figuring out, you could see it as part of your 2025 experience. But the nice thing that happens in 2025 is that in April, once Mars is direct again in Cancer, when Mars gets to 27 degrees of Cancer, trines the North Node at 27 degrees of Pisces. Calm, cool, all good. There's a sense of, I feel good about this. I feel good about this choice, this decision, this direction. This is my spiritual path. So that's where I'm going with this, is that this North Node is pushing you not only towards more of who you are and what you need to claim and do for yourself, even if it alienates you, even if it like pushes you away from people, because it's part of your spiritual path that will become more evident next April and May. And so just to help with more of that longer term perspective of what you're choosing. And you can, so interesting. I was gonna say, you can set the intention for everyone's best and highest good. It's funny because I feel like I just got this visual of a man walking in the door in like April, May, and being like, now I know why you chose that. Like, I just feel this masculine energy. Maybe it's a father, maybe it's a boss, maybe it's an older brother. I don't know, but I just feel this masculine energy walking through the door and saying, I understood why you chose this now. Okay. So know that what you might be emotionally processing is going to trigger other people, but it's not your responsibility. And that can be a big part of the Cancer soul growth work. especially if you're an empath and you're feeling the feels and you're feeling like, okay, I get this. I get this. But it's like, no, there's something that has to play out over time. It's interesting, right? Because this energy it's intuitive. It is, something that you're maybe just feeling like, and you can't quite explain it. And it takes time for people to understand it, especially when we're not talking about any earth signs here in the mix. And it feels too like there's potentially emotional growth for everyone involved, even if there's separations involved. A square to the nodes of fate brings up more intentionality, being very intentional. And because, again, it's the North Node is in Aries, it's like you've got to put yourself at the top of the pyramid. Now, if it was reversed, if it was a North Node in Libra, then you would be more, accommodating or considerate of, the other. But that's not this energy. This energy is, I got to do this for me. I also feel that many of you who resonate with this or who feel like it's applying to you, it's because you're part of a soul group and you're the leader and you're changing something. And it might not be evident right now what you're changing, but it'll be evident next year. And that's part of what you are, like tearing up, slicing up, changing up. And it's sort of like, it's okay if it doesn't feel good. It's like you got to be brave enough to work through the discomfort. You got to be brave enough to keep marching through the tension. Because avoiding it is not realistic. Like, life just has tension. Life has discomfort. There's times you got to assert yourself and other people aren't going to be happy, and that's not yours to take care of. And so the Cancer planets could potentially struggle with that. And you can't, I'm just going to say, you can't be overly fixated on being liked, on people agreeing. You can't be overly fixated on that. Like, you have to decide, how am I living my life? On the last day of your life, when it's you and your God, you and the universe, you and you, what are you going to think back on that mattered to you, that was important to you, where you lived life on your terms, you followed your gut, you trusted what you wanted? And then where are you going to realize what those regrets are, or what you wish you had done differently, or wish you had tried or attempted or resolved or whatever? And I know that's a bigger statement to go right to the last day of your life, but there's also something beautifully liberating about living from that place, about understanding when it's appropriate to choose what is best for you from a well-intentioned place. And that doesn't mean it's a bad intention place for others. Like, just because it's pro you doesn't mean it's anti them. It's just pro you. You're like, this has my name on it. This is what I want. This matters to me. It reminds me of one of my best friends. She's in this great relationship. And when she was dating and when she was like going through all these scenarios, we had this agreement that, because this was her dating journey, she's in the driver's seat, I'm the passenger. I'm not reaching over to try and grab the steering wheel. I'm not telling you what to do. or how to steer the car. Like, what do you need? What do you want? How are you feeling? We prioritize you. This is your journey. And I'm supporting you. And I'm, what is it? What do you need from me that's good for you? All that. And that empowered her, right? Like, that's an empowering place to be. So look at where you are empowering yourself, driving your own car, living your own life, and knowing that, sometimes it's interesting because with Mars and Cancer, some things don't get worked out right away. There isn't immediate resolution. And it's like, and that Libra energy will avoid the discomfort. It's like, okay, wait, no, let me just change my mind. Let me make you happy. Let me do what you need me to do. And this is asking you to be aware of how you really feel, because the people who love you, they want what's best for you, right? They want you to have that life that has your name on it, that new start or that new whatever. And going back to my friend, I'm like, I'm the passenger, you're the driver. And so I just want what's best for you in a partner. Like, I want whatever you need. Like, that's where I support you. And I feel like we get too ingrained in each other's lives or in expectations of each other to not realize that, yeah, you know what? It's actually not about you. It's about them. So just keep in mind that however you're feeling this energy, you could also be on the receiving end of someone not matching your expectations, of not doing what you want them to do. You could have someone say, I'm going to go do this, or I want to do this, or whatever it might be. Like, the roles can be reversed, of course. But we're in this big energy of Mars in Cancer that will last into April 2025. And this is going to be a time to be very intentional and conscious with how you are working through it without being immature, reckless, inconsiderate, the tantrums. there can be Mars in Cancer tantrums. So just understand, like, how you work with and know your emotional energy is part of your emotional intelligence and your emotional wisdom. So we're going to be feeling this, and we're going to be going through these themes, into 2025. Something else I wanted to share with you about this. So after Mars in Cancer squares the nodes and continues on, you've probably heard there's an election going on. And right at the time of the election is when this Mars in Cancer opposes Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Okay, so that's very contentious. That's anger. That is, rage and fighting. It's extreme. That's an extreme energy. And so as I was going through all the dates and stuff for this, I noticed that back in 2008, Mars in Cancer, oh my gosh, Anna, thank you. That's so kind of you. That's so kind of you, Anna. Thank you. That was a nice donation. Just like flashed on the screen. Matched my hair. Okay, so Mars went into Cancer in March 2008. 0 degrees of Cancer. Pop quiz. What else happened in 2008? Pluto went into Capricorn. In March 2008, Mars in Cancer opposed Pluto in Capricorn at 0 degrees. That opposition started Pluto's journey in Capricorn, and that same opposition is ending Pluto's journey through Capricorn. So we had it at 0 degrees, and now we're having it again at 29 degrees. What else happened in 2008? The housing crash. Capricorn is Wall Street. Cancer is Main Street. And so here we have this energy showing up again at the critical anaretic degree. The last months of Pluto and Capricorn. I'm so tired of talking about Pluto and Capricorn. So tired. But here we are. It's the never-ending story. So around this time, Pluto opposes Mars in Cancer, housing market, safety, families, Main Street. It's significant. It's significant. Now, we've already been seeing the housing market here in the States, play out through some obviously increased rates, harder to buy a house, rising rents, inflation, everything at the grocery store is $1 more every week, right? Like everything is affecting Main Street, Cancer. So the end of this year into next year, housing crisis, things affecting families, our homes, all of that is still a big theme. I don't like talking, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to make it, fearful, but this is what the astrology says. And astrology is a beautiful, energetic language that helps us understand what we're moving through. So that's my heads up. Mars in Cancer opposed Pluto in Capricorn at 0 degrees in March 2008. It's happening again as Pluto leaves Capricorn. It also happened basically every 2 years. Every time Mars was in Cancer, it opposed Pluto in Capricorn. And then going into next year, Mars in Leo, opposing Pluto in Aquarius, shifts the game, shifts what is being deconstructed and transformed. So, big stuff, big stuff. Okay. I haven't been able to catch up with the chat. So sorry. Because I wanted to make sure this was good information for you. So looking at the Cancer areas of your chart is where Mars in Cancer is coming through with a retrograde that you haven't had since 2008. 2007, 2008. 2007 was the retrograde. And I know it takes time to think back on what you were doing. I'm always like, where was I? What was going on in 2007? But that's where we had this last Mars retrograde in Cancer, which can show you the themes that came up for you in that house or houses in your chart. I don't care what house system you use. I don't care. I prefer Placidus because I've seen the accuracy. Some people love whole house. Awesome. Some people love equal house. Great. Some people like Coke. Great. To each their own. Whatever resonates with you is the correct answer. I don't get involved in those petty debates. I don't think it's important. I think it's important to just go with what resonates. So whichever house you have Cancer in is where stuff is being stirred up. Stirred up. You got to make some intentional personal choices. You got to work through the emotions, the anger, the resentment, the discomfort. Be brave. Be brave. Because when you clear it out, you're free. You're free, you're lighter, you're healthier, you know yourself more. You know yourself more. 11th house. 5th house. Okay, so friends and neighbors, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. I don't know if I'll do a live next week. I have to look at my schedule, but I will if I can. And again, I appreciate your energy. Oh, and I want to say I really appreciate all the comments you made on my Monday podcast about your intentions for new energies on the planet. They've been beautiful to read. So beautiful. Thank you for offering your brilliance and your wisdom. It supports everyone who reads the comments. I'm so grateful for you guys. Truly. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Okay, I gotta sign off. Have a good afternoon. Have a good day wherever you are. I'll see you soon. Bye.